Welcome everybody to Conversations with Paul or Chip. My guest today is Katherine, is it Koller? I got it right. I'm very excited about this. Before we begin, there's always a little bit of philosophy I'd like to share, and that is because we talk about good conversations and becoming, I always believe that we never become who we are in isolation, and we never have. Our identities, our successes, our failures are shaped only in relationship with the people we associate with the places that we visit, with the things that we cherish and collect, with the ideas that we explore or choose to believe, and of course, with the actions we take. We are always in the process of becoming. So a real conversation like this that we're having tonight is kind of rare. And it's one of those conversations where you listen carefully, you allow for complexity, you let yourself be influenced. So that's the one thing I love about the guests that come here on the show. I never know how I'm going to be changed. And so I'm always very careful who I choose. So you're number 5. Now I will say you bumped the mayor. She had a previous engagement she was supposed to be on tonight. So it just happened to be when you called and said you were going to be in town and wanted to do a reading. I thought, hey, why don't we do both of these things at the same time? It would be a lot of fun. So good conversations are not intended to be an interview or a debate or a platform for rehearsed talking points. So I kind of think of it as a relational practice where my guest and I enter into a conversation with a little curiosity, with a little courage, with some generosity, and something new becomes possible. Insights may emerge for us, assumptions may soften, futures may shift. Friends, as you listen to the podcast, notice yourself as well. Notice what moves you, what unsettles you, what changes in you as you listen, because it's the quality of the relationships that shape the quality of our lives with people, with places and things, with ideas and actions, and of course, with the conversations we choose to enter. Every conversation we have changes the future in some way. So these conversations are for us to do good, not merely just have a pleasant conversation. So let's tonight do some good. So with curiosity, and with some vulnerability, we begin. I'm your host, Paul Harris, and this is Katherine Koller.
Hello.
Excited?
Yes.
Now, are you a little nervous?
No.
That's
no,
good.
Not really.
Too many times standing up in front of audiences.
Yeah,
reading,
I've done it a lot.
You've done it a few times. We'll chat for probably about 45 minutes, and then afterwards we'll have some time for you to do a little reading, and then I thought we would do some question and answers, so we'll wrap up by about 7:15-ish. So it's a tight evening, but it's going to be a packed evening. And so let's see, where shall we begin? First, I wanted to say as well that because the questions sometimes are like, you need to think about them, silence is absolutely fine.
Okay.
I just let silence be a thing.
Okay.
So don't feel uncomfortable if you want to stop and think. And do feel comfortable to throw something back because the conversation sometimes needs that. So it's just not all going to be, hey, tell me about this, keep talking. Okay. So here's question number 1 for you. And when you think about who you are right now, not your title, not your history, who are you becoming? What is your attention these days? What feels most alive for you?
Who am I becoming? Well, I just feel like I'm getting started on growing up, actually. I've been home with lots of kids for lots of years and in classrooms teaching lots of other grown-up kids for lots of years. And just recently retired from that about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And decided to just concentrate on my writing, which I've always done, even with all the other pressures of my life. So I think I'm trying to get it all down on paper, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, observing, because I finally have the chance to do that. So that's what I mean about finally feeling like I'm growing up. Because as a writer, I don't think you ever stop. I know there are lots of writers in the room here, and they can maybe relate to those times of fallow and excitement. And this is an exciting time for me because I have a new book. But everything I put down on paper now seems to have more of an urgency, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it because I've lived that many years and seen so many changes and looking ahead and seeing more changes to come and going, how are we going to do this? So I do feel a kind of an urgency and maybe just, make it happen. So maybe I'm going to be a little bit more obsessed in the next few years. I don't know.
Okay.
And who else am I becoming besides that? Well, I just don't know. That's sort of my main gig right now, although I'm also singing a lot since I retired. That's been something I've really enjoyed. And I've always gardened, so I really enjoy that. And just I'm working on keeping a healthy me, a healthy family, and
So you would say that your attention to your writing seems to be even more intense now.
it is,
And you said something about an urgency.
yes.
Is it because you feel like now you need to be almost a custodian of this present time that we're in? That things are, like, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but it feels like you're saying that things are moving so rapidly, somebody has to say something.
Well, I guess I just feel very privileged that I have like a platform where I can say what I feel and think and dream. And so part of that is a responsibility, I think. So there's an urgency to that responsibility of being true to the work. Also, I think that our world is in a little bit of, trouble. So what can we do about it? What can anyone do? They can do their best and talk about it. And, the fact that I named this book Earthen tells you where my head is at right now.
And this is your current book.
This is the newest book, yeah.
Okay.
Just came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this the one we're going to hear some stories from?
Yeah, I'm going to read from that
Okay,
eventually,
nice.
yeah.
You also mentioned this idea of not quite knowing who you're becoming.
No, who knows what might happen. I'm pretty open as a person. I'm, interested in meeting new people. I was happy to come down here and bump the mayor. I've never done that before. I've never read in a gallery before. New things to me are exciting, and I think we need to stimulate ourselves that way, because you never know what's happening at the edge of where you're comfortable. I'm the kind of person who writes in all different forms for that reason. I feel if you're a writer, you're a writer. So I've been writing poetry a lot lately, and I still write plays. And nonfiction is another one creative nonfiction, I mean. So stuff that I'm, trying to work stuff out in my own self. So that's new for me as well.
In your own becoming.
In my own becoming.
Yeah.
And it's also that looking back at those shiny stones that led you to where you are, and realizing that there was actually a path, or there was actually a reason or a purpose, or, an unfolding as it should be. So that's new for me as well, the creative nonfiction. I love art in all forms, visual, performing, dance. I write for opera. I write for ballet. You name it. It's whatever I feel. I haven't done graphic novel, for example. I'd love to do that. I haven't done children's books. I would love to do that. I have a manuscript all ready to go.
You could partner with AI now and do a graphic
I
novel.
don't want to do that.
But it'd be so easy.
There's a little bit of offense. You've just identified a bit of offense for me.
It's
No,
okay.
yeah, I'll leave that to younger people
Oh, I see.
who can maybe negotiate that path better than I can. I don't think I can.
So this brings me really to the next question. You've led into it so well. If you're thinking about your peak experiences in your life, can you tell us a time in your life when you felt your life's purpose most strongly? What, who was there? What was happening in that moment? What moved you? And how does it still resonate today? Is there a specific moment or a specific time or maybe a cluster of things?
Well, I have to say the birth of my first child was a game changer. And yes, there was a purpose there that wasn't about me so much, it was about someone else. And I went on to repeat that experience 5 more times. So that tells you that I was really enjoying that. And so my husband and I, we have 6 daughters.
Okay.
And so
That
because
kind of works with this room, doesn't it?
it does
There's
work
2
with
men
this
in
room, and one of them is my husband. So because our children are all female and are still female, like you know that's another whole thing. I became very, very interested in the female experience and looking at how women need to carve their own paths. And now I think I'm actually very interested in the older women's experience. I'm fascinated by women who are older than me and how successful they are or not, and just how they got there. And so I'm constantly interviewing them for just my own interest, but also maybe something else coming up down the pipe. I don't know what yet. So the female experience, definitely.
Okay.
And part of that would be mothering. And I have no grandchildren. So
What? They got
what's
to
with
get busy.
that? I know.
I mean, you've set an example.
What's
How many
with
times
that?
did you say 5?
There are 6. There are 6 of them. So I'm waiting for that. So that would be something I would hope to be becoming at some point. Yes.
A grandparent.
Yes.
Okay. Are you listening? I love that. That kind of leads to the very next question, which now I've forgotten exactly what it is, but I have it right in my notes. So it's about the relationships that are now shaping you, because you mentioned that you're interviewing folks. Yeah. Are you picking like living, breathing women that you're interviewing? Are you looking through novels? Are you looking through history?
Yeah, that's
Like,
a good point. Well, I read a lot about the female experience, women writers for sure, but also I meet a lot of women in the volunteer job that I have, which is a producer of a thing called Script Salon.
Okay.
So it's a monthly new play reading series in Edmonton, and a lot of our audience are older women, and they like to tell me what they think of the play. They like to have a little chat, and so I'm always talking to them. And in fact, for a novel project that I've been working on, I did actually ask some of them to do formal interviews with me for the purpose of that novel. So in all different ways, yeah. I read a lot, I think you have to, if you're a writer. I think that would be the number one thing. Read in every way you can. Read everything. Not everything you'll enjoy, but you'll understand maybe a bit more about your species,
So you mentioned about 10 minutes ago the edges, exploring the edges.
Yes.
So when you're doing interviews, are you doing that exploration with these women as well? Mm-hmm. And what are the big things that you're finding, or is there something that an aha moment or something that has really stayed with you?
The women I interviewed for that project, and the women I continue to informally interview always stun me because they are so capable. And it's like hidden, like no one knows. They're so capable, they're so talented, they're so self-sufficient, but it doesn't show, it doesn't register, I think, with the rest of the world. And I'm just...
Does it register with them?
With them? Well, I remember one of them telling me, I'm not your run-of-the-mill senior, which tells you. So I find that so fascinating. And I think women go through many different sort of stages, yeah? It's been written about, and maybe I'm entering into that sort of older woman, crone, wise woman, but without any grandchildren.
Right, you can't be wise without grandchildren.
I don't think I can. It's not going to work. So I guess I'm in an interim stage. I'm on a bridge.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a student. I'm a lifelong student.
I want to hear more about this edge exploration.
Okay, yeah. So that comes a little bit from permaculture. Do you know about permaculture?
A little bit.
I did a whole series. I wrote a web series about young Edmontonians designing their lives in different categories, transportation, housing, whatnot, food, whatever. And one of the folks we interviewed for that was a permaculturalist, and I realized that how he is designing his life is exactly how I would like to design my life. So it's using what you have, knowing what resources are around you, going to the edge. Like if you don't normally do that thing, go there and see if it can help you, fill a hole or a need in your own life. So yeah, check it out.
Give us an example of that.
Okay.
Where have you gone to the edge? And
Where have I gone to the edge? Okay. Well, I think every time I decide that I'm going to write in a new form, I'm going to the edge.
That's an edge, okay.
Because I can write, but then I have to learn a new form. Poetry, although I've taught poetry for lots and lots of years, it's a different thing when you're writing it and you have to realize what kind of structure you're using, what has to happen there. And then, so I want to write a musical theater piece. So I've got to write the book for that. What happens? Well, that's not so bad because I write plays already. But then I have to write the lyrics for the songs. Is it kind of like poetry? Well, kind of, but not really. So that's what I mean by going to the edge. And then I become a student again in learning the new form, right?
Okay.
And then taking what I know already from my own experience and applying it to that new form. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So what you're saying really is don't keep paddling around in the middle of the pool.
Yeah, don't stay in your own box. Like,
go and see what's
move out of that. Yeah, and try
the center
new
for
things.
A while.
And I've written about this that it's very free. It's very liberating to try a new form as a writer, anyway. Because then you are a student. There's no stakes. Even if maybe you've, done, a book of short stories you're very proud of, you're a brand new newbie. You're a newbie in another form, like, for example, musical theater. So there's no pressure. You could just do what you do. That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm. What environments right now do you feel like are bringing out the best in you? So now you're at the edge, and I mean, obviously you've put up you've got some tow ropes and some guides there. You're not just falling off the cliff, or are you?
Yeah. Hopefully not. Okay. I really like chatting with people. Like, I love this format. Okay. I love this. So I enjoy, being at the front of a classroom and getting others to be involved. But I like to do one-off kinds of teaching now, not, get, a whole semester worth of work to do. I like to just do like the little workshop that I did at Lacombe, for example. I enjoy exchanging ideas. I like this. I'm not good at the social media stuff yet. I don't know if I want to be.
No, I don't want to be, but if you want to be, go for it.
It's a whole other frontier. But maybe
I
it brought
prefer
some of you
cesspool,
in.
but
Who
you
knew?
go ahead.
Who knew? So I think it's really important to pay attention to the things that you pay attention to. Right?
It sounds
Those
like
are
you're a
the
little
things.
crafty, like you go in with a cloak of teacher, but you've gone to the edge to actually explore.
Yeah.
Is that what's happening?
Could be.
Okay.
It could be. I think I'm a risk taker.
That's my very next question about what it is that you might need to let go of or take a risk in order to accomplish the kind of things that you're looking to right now in your becoming.
Point. Well, I know I'm a risk taker. I'll give a short little anecdote. So there I am shopping for a family of 8 in the winter, superstore, loaded cart, going over the snowy ruts to my car, and my purse is right there in the thing. And someone comes by and snatches my purse. What do? I chase them.
Of course you do.
And they're going into a car, and a getaway car, and it swerves and knocks me over into the snow dramatically. And I thought, that was stupid. Why didn't I just write down their license plate number? Next time I will. So that's how I know I'm a risk taker. And also, my previous book of short stories is called Winning Chance. And I was investigating, I was very interested in what makes people take that chance, that final step to get to where they want to go. They may have tried before and stepped back, but what makes them finally do it? So that, I did a whole collection about that.
Winning chance.
Winning Chance. It's on the table out there.
Okay.
But what will I personally have to let go of to take the next risk?
Obviously your purse.
I think any expectations, you have to just go with an open mind and, try not to let external forces say this or that or freak you out. Just go ahead. Just do it.
Well, it is an interesting question because we are shaped by the relationships we've been in. Mm-hmm. So all of that shaping creates a bit of inertia that takes us in the same direction we've been going for a long time. I mean, certainly we invite new relationships in and we shift a little bit, but if we really want to make a dynamic shift, what else do we have to let go of? What are the other pieces that we have to say, I'm going to just let this one settle for a while I strum some other relationships in my world so that I can become something different.
I had some advice from someone, Gwen Ferris Ringwood, if anybody remembers her. She sent me a note because I had, one of my essays got to her, and so she got to read it. And I'll never forget this. She said, sloth is the enemy. And I think when you say sloth.
Okay.
So that's kind of like inertia.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, oh, why do it? Because it's not going to happen anyway. Why send that essay out to someone who is never going to read it anyway? Like, you can't think like that.
Well, that's engaging with ideas. That idea that it's not good enough or that it can't be. Or that possibility isn't mine to become into.
Or I don't have it in me to go there. So I think that's one thing to let go of, for sure. But I think better than the letting go part is to follow the thing that is interesting you. Pay attention to the thing that you're paying attention to. That's what you're after. Follow that heat. And it's sometimes very instinctual, Paul. Like for me, I'll just think, maybe I should just call that person, or, and I don't quite know why I think that. And it ends up to be exactly what I should have done. So I do believe in instinct as well. Yeah.
That fits with the idea that I share often, that we always know the very next step to take toward a goal. It's an instinct. We know what this next step is. We don't always know what the one after that is. And that's what I think keeps people from going in that direction, because they think, oh, I got to know all the steps, so I won't take the first one. I won't send out the manuscript. I won't ask a friend. I won't do some research.
Yeah.
But we know what that first step is, even if it's to call mom and say, what do I do?
Yeah, and I think to break a task down into small steps like that is really useful. And I've had to do that in my life for sure, because I have been,
But you got to let all of the other ones be unknown. Well, here's the one step, and here's all the question marks.
Yeah, and just
I guess
doing
those
one
question marks
thing.
are the edge that you're talking about.
They can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small steps are good. Yeah. I think most of us have to work that way. And I'm sort of afraid of a huge step, a big leap. I just about got hit by a car doing that. Right?
I know, but look at the fodder you got for, I'm sure it's going to wind up in a poem or a
Well,
book or a play.
it might, but I did know that I'm a risk taker from that. I do know that, yeah.
I'm sure you got a lecture or two from people around you. Okay. So this question is about, with that experience that you've been in, now you're starting to interview others, and I see that. So this is a kind of one of those questions where, what have you felt that you've contributed and genuinely made a difference in somebody else's life? It might be a small thing or it might be a big thing, but how is it that you are sharing your influence in the world? How are other people becoming because you are?
Well, I think, raising 6 wonderful daughters, I have to add that, is one thing. But also in teaching, teaching is it's like looking in the mirror. You don't know what's beyond that mirror. You don't know how students are being affected or not. And it's only when I run into students later that I realize, oh yeah, they're doing great. And, maybe they got something out of that. But what you bring to them is whatever it is you want to share, but also you bring that hope. Teachers all have to have hope, don't they? How could you do, and parents have to have hope. You have to be living hope all the time as a teacher, as a parent, and as a writer, I think. So I hope that I pass that along. I hope I do.
So it's just a burning that you hope that you've been a good example?
I guess, yeah. Or
are there times where you think, no, this thing that I've done has actually made a difference in that person's life or in that community?
Yeah, I think, so for example...
I guess it plays an ego a little bit. Sometimes you don't want to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I don't know if I, sort of put stars up on a chart or anything like that.
Well, let's do that.
But I do know that, those new plays that I curate and bring in to have read, like I do know from numbers that over 60% of them go on to be produced elsewhere. So that, I think, that is a difference. It's bringing the playwright in the room with an audience, actors, they've been rehearsed, and they hear the play, they hear the response of the audience, and then they go off and they rewrite. And then they submit to a theater, and then the show gets done.
You must feel proud about that.
That I think is a difference, yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Just think of, and one thing that I sometimes think we forget is that strum that you've done that's caused that action, that they've gone on to be successful, we don't always know what that person has done that's created new successes other places in the world. That
Right.
you know, that whole drop the pebble in the pond
Yeah,
notion, but
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
little bit more complicated
yeah.
than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, you know, as someone who's in the arts ecosystem, we're as you go along, you realize how connected you all are, and that you can have an effect. So, you know, Fran is here. She had her play done at Script Salon. I'm hoping that that gets produced soon. But it's a step. It's one of those steps you were talking about toward the next presentation
Right.
or production. So yeah,
So
the ripples.
as you think about your life now, and if the best of you continues to unfold, and that's what you're inviting, what does that look like for you in the future?
I don't think of myself like that. That's so weird. That's such a weird question.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do I think of myself unfolding? I
If the best of you continues to unfold like you're inviting, like you're going to the edge, you're
Yeah,
changing yourself.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
keep doing that, what is it that future is going to look like for you?
I would hope it's probably more like it is now. It would probably be much the same.
Wouldn't it be easier to stay in the center then?
Much the same, but you know, with that satisfaction that those things that I wanted to get down on the page or on the stage are actually happening. Yeah, I'd like to do some film. I've got lots of ideas, many ideas. So I think just having the health and the ability to just keep doing what I'm doing is, you know, I'm not asking a lot.
You just want space to be able to keep doing that.
Yeah,
And you
the-
see that
the
you're going to
space.
learn new
Yeah.
genres and new skills,
Yeah.
including film, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I have written for film already, but I'd like to do more. So it's just that, I guess the space that I'm in right now is really good. I don't have that many distractions. Now, I would welcome the distraction of grandchildren. What would that do? What will that do to everything?
The film might never happen.
That might be so true.
It might be a trade.
So it might be a trade-off. We'll have to see.
Okay, well, we're kind of almost at the end of our time. But one question that I want to ask you now, and it's not about the material, it's not about you, it's about your experience in having this conversation. What was it like for you? The inner reflection of how did it feel to talk about these kinds of things? What happens when you talk about them?
Well, I guess I've made some intentions, haven't I, in this conversation? So I'm going to be paying attention to my intentions. I'm hoping that the others who are here are also considering those kinds of intentions as well, because there is an audience here. It's not just us. I'm very aware of that. And I just feel kind of grateful to be asked all those things, because I don't think anyone ever has.
No.
So thank you very
Well,
much.
good.
Paul.
You're quite welcome. Yeah. I appreciate you coming and doing this with us. So I'm thinking, would you like to read a little
I
bit
would.
for us? And do you mind if I remain seated in this very
You
place?
may be right there. You're part of the audience.
Tell us a little bit about what you're going to read, and then do that. And then we'll have some questions and answers generally about the chat we had and about your writing, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay, I'm going to read from the last story in Earthen. It's called Apple Bread. And I've arranged this collection so that the first stories are quite realistic, and then they go more speculative and into other realms. And so this story at the very end is, you'll see very quickly, from the point of view of a tree. I'm just making sure I have the right pages here. And I like to print off my story. I'm not reading all of this, don't worry. I like to print it off. I like to print it off in big type, so I don't have to use my glasses. That's just
Well, I've done that with my notes and it's not working. I'm laughing, it's 8 pages, but it's actually 1.
So this is also the story that I would really like to make a short film of. So I invite you to just direct it in your head as you hear it. Apple bread. I have 65 growth rings with her. This spring, to let her know it is enough, I sprout extra buds. But even from a distance away, when late wet snow on the ground prevents her daily walk and inspection, I sense her anxiety. I detect it deep in my cracking heartwood, in my roots under her feet, high in my branching canopy that protects her head from the rising sun, and in the frantic assembly of bees in my blossoms. She steps out of what she calls home. Her concern is clear in her eyes as she starts toward me. Then she crosses the yard, chasing the wind. She lifts my scarf from the grasp of the wind and wraps it around her neck and laughs like a bird. She always has a scarf of flowering colors draped around her shoulders. I love the rippling sounds she makes when she talks and when she moves. Her name is Esther. That is what her man called her. Now that he is gone, I try to mimic her name with my leaves in the breeze. Esther. Of all her gifts, walking amazes me the most. I know my roots reach away from my trunk, and my branches, even with regular fall pruning, stretch far, but her easy change in position is exotic to me, wonderful and weird. I know, though, that rootedness is my strength. My rootlets and my twiglets detail the health of the earth here near Esther, the one who nurtured me. The bulk of me, my trunk, my branches, and my roots leans toward the slant of her dwelling, not only to provide shade, but to assure myself of her wellness. Esther's well-being and mine are connected. The state of the atmosphere that I sense through my leaves at the top of my crown affects us both. Once I was nurtured by Esther, but it is long since I needed daily watering. I did at first, after her great sadness, the child born to death, cradled among my young root shoots. Esther fed me water not only from a long tube and from the hollow that collects rain, but also from her eyes, mother's tears. The others in the yard, horse chestnut, chokecherry, jack pine, saskatoon, and lilac, fed me sugars and medicine. I am apple. Blue spruce, who watched over us all, was felled in a storm, her stump cut like a table and flowers potted atop as a tribute. Now the rest of us tree folk shelter each other. I fear for lilac. Her trunk has split. We send her sugars and medicine, whatever we can spare. Lilac shields us from the northwesterly winds in the gap left by blue spruce, who taught that a lost limb is nothing to fear. The cut would heal into an eye, and a new sensitivity called seeing would result. She motioned to us when wild wind approached. Tighten up, big one on the way. We prepare for storms by ceasing food production. In stress mode, our leaves susurrate messages to each other. You can bend. It's going over your crown. Or, I'll block it for you. I love when Esther talks to me. When her grown son chided her for it, she said, "It is my way to take it to the tree." Only she and I know her joys of each season, disappointments about carelessness, and her deepest loss, for which I am a living monument. She speaks of her dreams, equilibrium, peace, and potential. her hopes for her kind and mine. I treasure her whispers of gratitude. When I'm with you, my friend, she says, time stops. She is also near her little one asleep under me. The others ask me for her gossip. I ignore them. I believe that what Esther tells me is not to be restrung on the wind like a wet scarf on the line. Instead, I scour the air for her, flushing the oxygen out of my leaves to help her breathe easier, especially when she mourns. As I grow older like Esther, I am more sensitive to variations in the air. I'm disturbed by smoke haze that ghosts my friends across the yard. But on clear, windless days, the smell of Esther's food, baking, wafts from the opening on her home and delights me. This summer, Esther brings me sun-warmed rainwater from a bucket every time she comes near. The moisture is welcome. Every summer seems drier than the last. She pours the water out slowly, letting the earth around me soak it up without splashing or causing a pool or exposing a main root. She does it as if feeding her child. Today, scarf billowing, she faces me, scanning my branches, checking my shriveled apples that fall at her touch. She inspects me, but does not talk as usual because of the squealing outside the yard. Every day the squeal is nearer and more frequent, insistent. Sirens, Esther says. The high-pitched sound arrests my fluids so that I cannot grow or hear the man calling out entering our yard. He has a tiny blue spruce on his shirt. Every time he comes, I wonder if he's bringing a new blue spruce for us. He comes straight to me, and my bitter hormones settle and sweeten. Gently, he pulls down on one of my stiffened lower branches that has recently gone numb. Esther, it's got to go. The yellow leaves along this branch mean blight. Oh, I clipped a bunch of affected branches a few days ago. That yellowed one is new. No, it's systemic. Blight will eventually kill it. Please, Esther, let me take this old tree down. No, not yet. That's what you said last year. Not in front of me, like now. Stop there.
Thank you. That was a joy.
Thank you.
Now it's your turn. What
Questions,
do we
yes.
have? There we go.
Yes.
Kelly.
You have 3 books, brief summary on book 1 and 2.
Okay, well, I actually have 4 books, but so the first one is a book of plays. And is it Marilyn? Marilyn has it. She bought them out. It's a book of plays called Voices of the Land, The Seed Savers, and Other Plays. So you can tell that I've been working in this realm of manifestations of the earth having character or voice for a while. And as I say, this book now just feels a little more urgent because of where we are right now with climate change, etc. So that's the first book. The second one is a novel called Art Lessons, and it's out on the table. And it is about a young girl who wants to be a visual artist, and she's obsessed with drawing trees. And it's about her journey becoming an artist and all the people who teach her actually without knowing that they're teachers. So that's why it's called Art Lessons. Then the book after that, the third one, is the book of short stories called Winning Chance. And I briefly mentioned how those are all about what does it take to finally make that thing happen that you want. And those stories all take place in Alberta. They're all set in Alberta. So I write from place. So the places I go end up giving me a story. And the ones in that book are all in Alberta. The ones in this book, some of them are from Alberta. So I have a book, a story here set in Grand Prairie, one set in Fort McMurray, one in Jasper. There's also a few stories set in places I love to be, but will never get to, like ancient Egypt.
Okay.
But I've always wanted to go, so I decided this is my chance. I'll do it in this collection. So this is a little broader, and as I say, that the stories are not all realistic. They do go into speculative near the end. I put those at the back for those who want to go there with me.
Hey. Other questions?
Yes.
Not so much a question, but more of a comment, I would say. I wanted to say a thank you to kind of opening the door that, you know, you say when that they're like taking the next step and to go to the edge and stuff. You know, I feel like I really need to hear that. That was something, you know, I consider myself to be a writer, and I don't know if I consider myself to be a particularly good one, but I think, you know, the progress is always there, but I also needed to hear that it was to just do it, to just
Yeah.
take that next step, and, you know, I don't always do that, so I appreciate
Well,
that. It felt like what I needed right now, so.
I'm so thrilled. And you know, someone said that to me, and she was in a totally different, she's an artist, a visual artist. And I remember I arranged for my oldest daughter to have a little kind of retreat with her where she would model for her, and then in return have some painting lessons. But she was the one who always said, just do it. Like Nike, you know, the Nike commercial, just do it with that little swish. And I think that, you know, as writers, we are risk takers, aren't we? Like, I mean, we're putting words on a page that we have the hope someone will want to read. And yes, it's a long process. And for me, I love the rewriting part. That's my favorite part. So the first draft part is the going to the edge, the risk, the just do it part, where I just have to like clear the desk, write that first draft, and then after I can go, okay, now I can shape it up. Now I can rework it, and it might take years and years and years to do that, but I've got something down there to start with. So it's really important to just go at it, and then over and over and over again. And some people ask, how do you know when a story is finished? How do you know when a play is finished? Oh man, I wish there was like a bell, like a little magic bell that you could ring and then you would know, but you don't know. And even some of the stories in this book were published in other places. And did I put them in exactly the way they were? Are you kidding? No. It's my chance to rework and deepen and look at it again with, you know, where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So it's very, you know, things are always in flux.
May I just add on the idea we talked about at the beginning, that we don't become anything in isolation. And so even though writing is a very solitary act, we still are in relationship to the people that have inspired us, like tonight, the pen, the space that we go to write, the world in general, the ideas that we're hearing. So there's still all of these relationships that have an influence that still come to bear while you're doing the solo act. And I think that's just as important. I think there are some people that would like to be writers, but don't realize that they need the whole village.
Yeah, you do. You need that ecosystem. You know, you needed to hear that tonight. Okay, awesome. So just do it. Keep that in your head. Yeah, there's another one.
Yes, it's your
And you're working now.
I wasn't asked what were my obsessions. Could put that down on your
Sure.
list. One of my obsessions is Jane Austen because I like talk about a writing teacher. She's just so brilliant, so precise, so witty, and talk about text that is always in flux. It's got a shimmer to it, her novels, because they're never exactly what they seem. There's so many layers going on and a lot of oppositional layers going on. And I really, really admire that. So yes, so I've taken my Jane Austen obsession to the stage. I wanted to write an adaptation. And here's a story for you. So I pitched the idea to the Citadel Theatre in Edmonton, and they said no. And then a year later, I looked at my pitch and I worked on it a bit more, and I pitched it again because this time they were asking for adaptations. So that's what this was. And they said yes. And then I had 2 years of developing that play with the Citadel, which I'm hoping at some point they might do. But in the interim, it'll be produced at Concordia University Edmonton in the fall. So that is like a little step. That's a student production, but it's kind of like a workshop production for me. I'll be able to get it on its feet. I'll be able to tidy the text up as much as I need to do. I'll be able to actor-proof it a little bit because students will tell you, they'll tell me. I know when actors read around the table, I know if they don't get it. I can just hear it. So I will be working on that, and then we'll get a little production out of that.
Is this the one you picture in film?
Not that one, no, not that one in film. Although the reason I did it, and the novel I did was Persuasion, because the 2022 version by Netflix was so bad.
Okay.
That was one of my reasons for doing it. Yes, Carolyn.
I'm just wondering if you could speak to the difference. When you write a short story or a novel, it is printed and there it is. When you write a play, it's like having grandchildren. You have to hand it to somebody else to nurture. And I'm just wondering if you could speak to that.
Even with a collection like this, okay, so I gave it to my friend Rona Altros in Calgary in manuscript form and had her read it and just be really honest with me, like, what do you think? And she said, yeah, it's publishable, but there's this one story in there. I don't think it's cooked yet. And I was prepared for that. That happened to me in my first collection as well. So I quickly removed that one and added a few other ones. And then, it goes to the publisher, and that editor, the publisher's editor, does a lot of work with me on it. And then the designer, of course, getting the cover sorted. And then the designer left me with these beautiful little illustrations at the beginning of each story, which I did not even know was happening. It was a secret surprise. I didn't see that until layout, when I'm checking the layout, right? So there still are a lot of people involved in putting a book together. There's a publicist who has been helping me with just organizing some events and so on. So there are people there. Now, when it comes to the play, what's beautiful is that you see other artists coming in to put their stamp on it. I don't really feel like I give it away, but I'm then sort of in a group of people who are all working to make this thing the best it can be. It's the same idea here, but we're all sort of seeing each other. We're in the room together. So it's a very exciting time. So I'm really looking forward to this Q production coming up. One thing is that they're going to be using professional designers who will then farm out the work to the students. So that's another kind of great thing to have. Yeah.
I was kind of
as you were speaking, getting a visual in my head of what your calendar must look like. And I was kind of overwhelmed when you said, you know, the 6 daughters and the superstore with the grocery shopping. I was getting exhausted then. and I thought all these other things that you've managed to do, Catherine, in terms of, you know, all the work that you've done. I mean, it's, what do you do? I have 2 questions. First of all, is what do you do to recharge? What do you do to take care of yourself?
Oh, I know that.
You're busy.
I have a yard. I'm very privileged to have a yard. I will never be able to live in a place that doesn't have a yard. I go out into the green. And if it's winter, a lot of those plants have come in. You should see my house in winter. It's full of geraniums. It's just a jungle. But I've got them around me. I can't last the winter in Edmonton without them. But it's that being with the garden or walking and being with the trees in my neighborhood. That's what I do. And I love to read, so that's also another thing I love to do. And I love to hang out with folks, so I don't get to do that as much. My social life is a little curtailed, let us say, and always has been, because I've had so many people. Like, people say, aren't you listening to the radio? Like, don't you have the radio on? I'm going like, I have all these kids to listen to. I had the radio, I couldn't hear them. It's important for me to hear them, right? So yeah, I've got lots that feeds me. Yeah. I like to sing too. I'm singing now. Yeah, and that's why I couldn't come to the Combe that time, because I was singing in the Carmina Burana with the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra at the Winspear, and that was like, wow.
Well, so I have another 2 questions, which is, being at the point that you are now in our world and in our careers or our age and things like that, do you ever feel this I'm going to run out of time?
Yep. That's why I said, you know, there's an urgency. And will I have enough time to finish that project or that one or that one? Yeah. Yep, that's happening.
Because there's so many things we take for granted, say 10, 20 years ago, we just say, oh, of course we'll be healthy, of course we'll be able to do
Right.
things. Of course there will be time.
So it's the other end of the spectrum of where you're at, right? Where you sort of just do it. So, but I'll just do it until I can't do it. That's what I'm going to do.
Any other questions before we wrap up? And then you can have a look at the books and have a conversation with one-on-one.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you
Well.
all for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes, the world will get to see you, and that'll be fun.
Fantastic.
I'm sure we get like 10 or 12 viewers, so you know you'll be right out there.
Well, we have 10 right here.
Exactly.
Pretty
I would say.
amazing. Yeah,
All right.
it's nice to have a small group.
Yeah, and anybody that's watching out there, you can always like and subscribe to us and watch the other podcasts. They're all very, very interesting, different people with different wisdoms. It's been quite a journey so far. And soon, we will have the mayor.
Okay, I was going to ask, is she coming next?
She will come back.
Okay.
Yes. That's good.
Great. Thank you.